thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Tony, for being a great host, Lisa for being a great host, and Cassandra for putting this together. This is wonderful. So let's hear it for Cassandra and her great work. And thanks for joining us.
Awesome.
Take it away.
Thank you. Well, welcome everyone. As Brian mentioned, I'm Cassandra Yarbrough, if you don't know me. Global Luxury Manager of Minnesota and Western Wisconsin. And welcome to our very first luxury event, Passport to Luxury event. I've already had agents asking me when the next one is, and I'm like, let's just get through the first one. But there's the potential to do this for a lot of different locations, and there's so much interest in global purchases for second home and investment properties and for vacation homes. So here we are at the beautiful Wayzata office. I don't know where Tony is, but thank you to Tony, BVP of this office, and Lisa Norton for allowing us to host the event here today. This is our Minnesota Global Luxury office, and it is stunning. We also, I need to share with you that this office is number 6.
4.
4? Number 4? Number 4? Okay, we're going with it. Number 4 in the country for volume, sales volume. So let's give it up to this office. Exceptional. Tony is also the Global Luxury lead for our Global Luxury Network group, which every Thursday there's 40 to 50 agents in this room and spilling out down the hall with pastries and all, and they just have an amazing network group. They talk about what's on the market, what's off market, high-end sales, what are their challenges, what are their successes, and it's just been a really great way for agents to network in this office and beyond. So thank you for leading that. We're in Wayzata on Lake Minnetonka. I mean, it doesn't get any better. Any idea how many miles of lakeshore there is in Minnetonka between the bays and the lake?
It's like 112.
Close, 125 miles.
Oh.
Yeah. Very good.
Do I get a prize?
You do. And about 3,500 plus waterfront homes. So it makes sense that between Lisa and Tony and this exceptional location that they are overachieving with luxury sales. So kudos to you all. I do want to make sure that you all know.
You point it.
That way. Okay.
I guess.
Garth, next slide. Beyond myself, we do have a full global luxury team. Morgan Dersh is our luxury marketing manager, and she is here. There she is. Everybody say hi to Morgan. And she has Callie Freed also working with her, and they're serving multiple markets, but truly their priority is Minnesota. So happy to have the global luxury a team here in place. And they have been so busy. I don't know how many appointments you've had since you've started, but it's in the hundreds with agents across the Twin Cities and well beyond. So thank you for your work. We want to also just kind of start out by thanking our sponsors and presenters here. We have Shaun Higgins here from CrossCountry Mortgage, our international lender, loan officer. Give it up for him.
Thanks, Margaret. Thank you.
And Patrick Kelly with Fredrikson and Byron, our international attorney. So thank you for being here and for the support to get this event set up and kicked off. Also, really thrilled to introduce our agent panel to my left. We have just some amazing talent here. I'm going to start out with Hannah, just to introduce you quick.
Okay.
Hannah and Tom. And they have been, you didn't come from Puerto Vallarta like yesterday.
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were already in the U.S.
No,
Okay.
flew in last night. Yeah.
Okay, so they flew in last night.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for making the travel, making the stretch here to get to Minnesota. I think it's your first time here?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
So welcome. We're so excited to have you
Thank you.
both. And let's give them a little applause for making the trip. And then our beloved CV agents, we have Adriana Martinez from the Egan office, who will be sharing more about Mexico City. And then we have Alexander Richards, who will be sharing more with us on Cabo San Lucas in the Baja area.
Yep.
So super excited to hear from both of you. And thank you all for your support in organizing this. We've been working on this for many months, so thank you so much. Next slide. Maybe. There we go. Oh, there we go.
Works.
So just want to give you a couple tips, tricks, I don't know, fun tips on Minnesota luxury. We have been in the running for first place in market share with luxury here in Minnesota for all of Coldwell Banker across the country, which is amazing. We've also been the number one broker in brokerage with luxury in Minnesota. So just killing it. If you look at our 13 metro area, we have 40% market share. 1 in 3 luxury homes are sold by the Coldwell Banker agents. We have 300 certified luxury property specialists here, but about 500 agents that are actively engaged in selling luxury real estate on a regular basis. And we have 7 networking groups. So the one here with Tony, and then 6 others, soon to be an 8th group for our Southwest regional office, brand new office in Bloomington, which will be a flagship office. So, looking at Mexico's luxury, the growth there is just unbelievable as far as residential growth, almost doubling from that 13.9 billion in 2024 to 21 billion expected by 2033. And the luxury segment is growing the fastest, is the fastest segment for growth for residential. Strong appeal, obviously, from foreigners, which we'll talk about, many Americans, many Canadians, and Europeans. And we'll also share a little bit more about just the whole structure. How do you own property? What's the legal process? And that has really changed over the years, which Patrick will probably share a little bit more about. And it's become more simple to, if that's okay to say, simplified, streamlined in getting there. He's shaking his head. So with that, we will get started. And I just want to formally introduce our wonderful Alexander Richards from the Minneapolis Lakes office. Did get a new photo. It is amazing. I love it.
Just for Mexico.
Okay. So you are a 5th generation agent.
Yes.
5 generations. Your mom is here in the audience. And
Yep. We use it as our tagline.
Yeah.
Yep. That's how we do
You
it.
studied in Spain. You're fluent in Spanish. Background in marketing and advertising on the East Coast, West Coast.
Yep.
You are licensed now in Baja.
Yes.
And here,
yep.
obviously.
It'll go into effect
Going back and forth.
January 1st. It goes into effect.
Okay.
So, yep.
Oh, exciting.
Yep.
And you have partnered with a developer there that you're going to share a little bit more with us about. So
Yes.
I will let you take it away.
Okay. Sounds good. And are you going to click me away too?
I may be.
Okay.
We'll see.
Joe's got. Oh, the mic. I think the mic is just for our cameras and that too. Yeah. Thanks, Joe. So I just want to talk about, this is kind of a great picture grab of what luxury in Baja California Sur, or Southern Baja California is. It's the sea, it's the sand, it's the desert, it's the scaping views of the mountains. And this is kind of how a lot of the properties that I'm going to be helping sell down there look. So if this looks like your vibe, then this could be for you. Next slide. So this is one of my favorite quotes from the director of travel and tourism down in Southern Baja. It is, "We prioritize quality over quantity." He stepped in kind of right before the pandemic and made this his priority. They're not catering to the cruise ship goers and the sandals vacationers. Their priority is to find and market to the luxury sector. So it kind of goes perfect with this panel here today, because that is who their market is. They are like you probably have heard in Cabo, like it used to be all kind of Hollywood elites, all the high net worth individuals back in the 80s and the 90s. Over the past 2 decades, people from across the US and Canada have been pumping money and investing into Cabo. And the numbers show it. Back in 2000, there was 100,000 kind of residents in the Cabo San Lucas area. Today, there's about 400,000, and that number is set to jump another up to 750,000 by 2040. So if you look at that growth over, let's say, projected 40 years, that's almost 200% every decade. You look at cities around the world, not a lot are doing that. And you're wondering why? This is why. Mexico has kind of started to protect Cabo and seeing that this is that jewel. This is kind of our big revenue driver. For instance, a vacationer will spend 3 times the amount they spend in Cabo than they would in Cancun. So they're protecting their dollars. They're catering to this market. This is our client. So luxury is our client down there. So this is kind of a fun little map for everybody. Kind of like a little video game, right? So if you kind of think of Hawaii or Cabo as like big island in Hawaii, it's got all these different feels, all these different ecosystems, these microclimates, these vibes to them. So let's start with La Paz in the north. La Paz is the old historic capital of Baja California Sur. It's been around forever. You go to the downtown, it's where the stately government buildings are. It's got that historic Mexico feel to it. Down to the south, on the east side, you have the Eastcape, which is all new, modern, luxury, boutique, eco, off-grid, serene nature landscape. So last time I was down there, Lance Armstrong was at one of these houses. You know, the Kardashians go here. This will be developed in probably the next 20 years. You have to have a lot of money to get into this market. To break in and build something, probably $3 to $5 million. Then we'll go just to the south, which is the old colonial Spanish kind of vibe. A lot of Michelin nods are getting, restaurateurs are coming to San Jose del Cabo. And so when I was down there last, I think I saw about 4 or 5 different nods to the Michelin. It's kind of the art capital and the foodie hub. And then everybody knows Cabo San Lucas. It's got the famous marina. It's kind of built like more of an American-style city, modern, and also extremely luxurious as well. Pedregal in Cabo San Lucas, you're probably looking starting around $8 million to $10 million for a nice house overlooking the bay there. And then, last but certainly not least, the Pacific side, which is where I am going to be based, which consists of Todos Santos, Los Cerritos, and Pescadero. It's kind of wellness, laid back, surfer, open air living. Luxury starts at about $700,000 there. And this just shows you a little bit of a blip into the connectivity of how connected Cabo is. There's 2 major airports, La Paz in the north, Los Cabos in the south, 43 flights that connect the U.S. and Canada to Los Cabos. And they just started going to, I believe it's Frankfurt, a couple years ago. So here's just a little bit of take. So like I said, the Pacific, wellness, open air, surfing, San Jose del Cabo. This is the very famous residence, Palmilla. A lot of Google, Apple execs have houses in there. A lot of tech money. And then Cabo San Lucas, this is the kind of picturesque marina. And then the Eastcape, like I said, boutique luxury. And then this is just a video that we created kind of about the area. It's pretty informative, so I'll let Joe run it. Oop. If it runs. No? There you go. Subtitles. So I just want to dive into kind of the meat of that video there real quick, just to show you guys, because we all have snowbird clients that are here, right? That are buying in Arizona, Florida, Texas sometimes. This just shows the consistency and the step-for-step that Cabo has had with these markets throughout the past 15 years. And then I'm going to go into a little bit about why it is kind of, in the pre-construction in the U.S., it's obviously going to be a little bit more expensive than to build your dream home down in Cabo. So you can get your dream life of luxury down in Cabo down for the same, if not less, for the cost of building, and you're going to see that same appreciation. So you can tell your clients that it's, you're both getting appreciation and you're going to get more amenities because your dollar goes further down in Mexico. And that's what I would tell your clients again. If the two number one things that vacation home buyers should be keeping an eye out for in longevity of their purchase is the amenities. Get the amenities that everybody wants in that area, whether it's a private pool, whether it's a shared pool in a community, sauna, steam room, whatever it may be, and buy into a neighborhood that has steady appreciation. So work with your local realtor and you can find those out pretty quickly. This isn't always technically true. Vacation markets aren't always buyers markets, but when you're a buyer and you're buying in a vacation market, you want to be really excited about going down to that house that you bought, that you've spent 20, 30, 40 years saving up for. You want it to hit all your notes that you want. You want to love it. So, shop around, be picky. And that's what a lot of the clients down there, they do. The luxurious clients, they're very particular. They want it a certain way. And our market is equipped to give it to them that way. And like I said, if the desert, the sea, the sun isn't for you, if you like the tropical and humidness, I'd send you over to Tom and Hannah over across the bay in Puerto Vallarta. Buy the lifestyle over everything, because you're going to be living there. If you want to retire there, if you want to spend holidays there with your kids, buy the lifestyle over everything. This is a note that I got from a guy down there for vacation markets, for realtors, for people in the room here. The 4 C's are what you want to focus on. So your CRM, a lot of us focus on kind of a smaller SOI here and just kind of market to those individuals. With vacation markets, you want to be as wide as you can because you don't know where it's going to come from. And that could be in Canada, in the US, in Europe, wherever that is. You got to be a content machine. So even if you don't like getting in front of the camera, you got to go out there and do it because people are going to rely on you for information. They're going to be your go-to. They want to read about what's happening in the neighborhoods in the location that you're selling in. Collaboration. Same thing kind of like we do here, collaborate with local vendors, local retailers, that sort of thing. And characterization, this is just know your market and kind of be the character for that market. So be the embodiment of where you are selling. Another bonus that's not on here, you all have access to Latin American listings. So in Mexico, you probably didn't know this, but on the tab in North Star MLS, it's on the far right, it's called Omni MLS. It's got a lot of great listings on there. I've listened to the guy talk who built it. It's about bridging the gap between the U.S. and Canadian markets into Latin America. So there are live listings on there right now, and you can go look at property.
Can I just add that you can also look at global properties on the Global Luxury website. So just move the map to wherever you want to go, and you'll see the Coldwell listings, which is so cool.
It's like Google Earth for real estate.
Yeah.
So now I want to start a little bit, before I pass the mic here, on where I'm going to be selling. This is the Pacific side. It's boutique, modern, open air. Like I said, luxury starts at about $700,000. These are some of the landscapes, the houses that you get there. So you can see it's very modern, it's very open air, a lot of light, kind of modular, if you will. And not a lot of people around. So it'll probably be developed in the next 5 to 10 years, I'd say. I'll share a stat just over this hill over here. Development called The Cove went up 4 years ago. They were selling for about $350,000. Now today, 4 years later, they're selling for $950,000. So 300% appreciation in 4 years. It's kind of crazy. And then I will jump to the next slide here, Joe. Would be great. This is my business partner and I's project, who you saw in that video at the end. He has built concrete, prefabricated buildings, homes, warehouses for the last 45 years in the greater Mexico, out of south of Mexico City. We are partnering together and kind of launching our first boutique compound. It's called Xcana, which means orca in an indigenous Pacific Northwest language. It's going to be 5 villas, all ranging from 650 to 900,000, anywhere from 2 to 4 bedrooms, 2 levels, as you can see, picturesque private pools, kind of like those photos I just showed you. We can build 70% faster than our competitors because of the prefabricated concrete slabs and walls that we build with. This is kind of our buyer, our I'll call them barefoot luxury people. The last note on this is that these are going to be almost fully autonomous. If we had gardens, they would be, but we're going to have a biodigestion and wetland system for the sewer and water, solar panel for energy, and just grab your groceries and come. And that's what our boutique buyers down there are demanding, is sustainability and as close to net zero as they can after these are put in the ground. And with that, I think that's it. Joe, if you want to give me one more. Yep, there's the two of us. Like I said, we got our pictures from Mexico. So, and I'll pass this over to Adriana.
Thank you, Alexander.
Yeah.
That's fabulous. And I know that Brian spends a lot of time in Cabo, and Joe King has built a home there recently, so a great location to go and also hang out with Coldwell agents and leaders.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
It'll be amazing.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
Brian knows the spot. He knows where we're building.
And still somewhat affordable.
Yeah. Come quick.
Love that. Love that.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you, Alexander.
Yeah, call Shaun. You'll hear about how affordable it is soon.
So Adriana, we're going to have you speak next, I should say, on Mexico City. And you are originally from Mexico City, which is amazing. And I wrote this down, that you have a degree in cybernetic engineering and computer sciences from LaSalle University in Mexico City. Mm-hmm. That's a mouthful. 17 years in the real estate business. And you're also a CIP, which is a Certified International Property Specialist, which any agent can have that certification through MAR, which is
through
awesome.
NAR. Mm-hmm.
Through NAR, okay, which is great. And that gives you access to other CIPs around the world that you can network. So if you meet someone, you can connect them to agents, kind of like within Coldwell, but agents around the entire world.
Yeah, and all of them are CIPs, which
All
are
of them are CIPs,
yeah,
okay.
which are specialized and also following the same ethics as NAR,
Okay.
requires.
Excellent. So tell us a little bit about Mexico City. What's going on there?
Well, hello everybody. Thank you, Cassandra, for the beautiful introduction, and thank you Tony and Brian for having me here. I want to share with you about Mexico City and why Mexico City is one of the Latin America's most vibrant and attractive and dynamic real estate markets. This is for lifestyle seekers and also for serious investors. In the last 5 years, Mexico City's real estate market has experienced a steady growth, and prices have been increasing consistently. And we don't have any sign that it's gonna slow down. So the steady growth is thanks to high demand and low inventory or low supply, and particularly for the prime neighborhoods. Mexico City is not only the capital of the country, but is also the economic, the lifestyle, and the financial heart of Mexico. It is also kind of a increasingly a global hub. So here, luxury, real estate luxury, combines lifestyle, prestige, and investment value. And very few cities in the world have this. So can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, so let me talk a little bit about lifestyle. Mexico City offers everything. And when I say everything, it offers historic stages, just as the neighborhoods of San Angel and Coyoacán. You might not know the names, but these are historic estates. It offers also sleek modern penthouses in Polanco, is another neighborhood, expansive gated mansions in Lomas de Chapultepec, and the buyers for Mexico City for luxury real estate, they don't buy just real estate. They secure the lifestyle that blends culture, art, gastronomy, and also international business. Just imagine, just living within steps of Michelin star restaurants, your favorite restaurants. Next slide, please. World-class museums. Next slide, please. World-class museums and art galleries, and also the vibrant and walkable neighborhoods like Condesa or Roma Norte. All of these names are high-end neighborhoods and with those characteristics. For families, we have no, before that one. Yeah, thank you. For families, we have suburban enclaves, such as Interlomas or Zona Esmeralda, and these offer security, excellent schools, and privacy. And Valle de Bravo is a city that is just, or is a suburb that is just few minutes from Mexico City, and Valle de Bravo offers lakefront villas, and that is perfect for a weekend retreat. Next slide, please. Regarding investment, from the investment perspective, we have in Mexico City since 2024, and in Mexico, nationwide, we have a 7% increase in price, while Mexico City in the luxury neighborhoods, we have over the last years, 30% increase. This is specifically in Polanco, Santa Fe, and Roma Norte. And also, this by the end of 2024, the price per square meter in Polanco, in these neighborhoods that I just named, it has reached $5,000. That is per square meter, which is about $664 per square foot. This is far lower than Manhattan, Los Angeles, or Miami, and if offers the same prestige and lifestyle. Regarding rental yields, in general, in these neighborhoods, the high markets, they yield about 4 to 6% rentals. But for furnished properties, departments, and short-term rentals, it can yield to 8 to 9%. This is why the investors, which are the international investors, they see dual benefit. One is the increasing or appreciation in capital, and the other one is the rental income. Regarding the trend markets, for this year, for the rest of this year, and for 2026, the expectations are price stability and consistent growth. High net worth demand, that is for local and foreign buyers. Short-term rental boom, that is via these platforms like Airbnb. And emerging neighborhoods like Nuevo Polanco, that's another high-end neighborhood, Tacubaya or Tabacalera. And also is focused on sustainability and wellness in the new developments. Also, the demand is is fueled by the international community, and this is from 2018 to from 2024. We have Mexico has issued 239,677 residency permits. This is among 50 different countries. For U.S., the U.S. Citizens that have a permit, they increased from 5,000 in 2020 to 9,000 in 2024. And these expatriates, diplomats, digital nomads or executives, they drive the sales and the rental demand. This makes the luxury real estate in Mexico a long-term play for sure. The foreign investment, as you see, it plays a big role. And Mexico in 2024 attracted a record of 36.8 billion of the foreign direct investment. And Mexico City alone attracted 39% of that total. That is about 14.4 billion. That is the whole foreign investment. I'm not talking about just real estate. The foreign buyers account for 40 to 60% in the luxury transactions, and that is particularly in Colonia Roma, in Polanco, and the Condesa. This reinforces Mexico as Latin America's premier business and lifestyle hub. Next slide, please. So the key takeaway is that Mexico City offers prestige at a lower entry cost compared to many other global capitals. And it offers to investors portfolio diversification and a hedge against volatility in U.S. or Europe markets. This is thanks to Mexico's steady economic for the economic pattern that it has, and also because it is very close to the ties with the U.S. Mexico-Canada agreement trade bloc. Next slide, please. These are tables that compares just a snapshot of the comparison of the valued areas, the high value areas. And next slide. I can share this later with you because it's very small, but it shows the price per square meter for each of these areas. Next slide, please. And just to conclude, Mexico City is not just a place to buy property. It is a place where attracts culture. It is a lifestyle destination, and it is also a solid investment market. For the real estate luxury, it is forecasted compound annual rate of 5% through 2032. So that means that Mexico City is still one of the most powerful and attractive real estate markets for all the years to come. So thank you. That is all I have for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great overview for Mexico City. Maybe not quite as affordable as Cabo. A little expensive, but definitely a hub for luxury.
Totally, and as I said, it is lower, far lower than Manhattan, Los Angeles, and Miami. If you want a Manhattan penthouse, you can have it in Mexico City for much lower.
It's kind of like Paris and Mexico.
That's what you said.
I love
Yeah.
it so much. And best restaurants, best food city I've ever been to.
Wow.
Yeah, I love it so much. And for museums, they have more museums than any other city in the world outside of Paris.
It has the most museums in the world.
It
Mexico
does now?
City.
For a while it was
Look,
Paris,
Google it.
so, yeah, no, I believe you. I believe you. When I Googled it years ago, it was number 2.
They have
No,
Michelin.
it's the number
yeah.
one.
No.
Number
It's
one.
incredible. I recommend visiting. It's incredible. Easy to fly there.
Polanco's
You're
beautiful.
gonna help Catherine get a house there sometime.
Of course.
I love all 3 places that you're talking about. I just love Mexico. Anyway.
You have some listings there. Just let me know which ones you want.
Right.
So Hannah Lopez and Tom, I want to introduce you both. Thank you again, obviously, for making the trip here.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you
Means a
for
lot.
inviting us.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're so welcome. So Hannah, you've been living and selling in Mexico for like 15
Yeah.
years now. I heard that Tom was calling you for referrals. Like he was giving you referrals. And then it was like, well, why don't I just get into real estate with you? So that's kind of how you met.
That is how we met. I was actually his realtor.
Okay. That's awesome.
And we hit it off really well. And, well, I mean, I can let Tom tell the story. He owned a guest house in Puerto Vallarta, and a lot of people that were guests at his guest house were also looking to purchase. And,
They did purchase.
yeah.
And I was giving it away. I'm like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
It's now 6 years.
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
Okay. And sounds like, I mean, you're global luxury agents. You've been selling mostly high end.
Yeah.
There's a huge culture for this, desire for this. demand.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Share a little bit more with us what's going on in Puerto Vallarta.
Okay, absolutely. Well, I would like to begin. I know some of you are familiar with Puerto Vallarta. Maybe we can click over to the next slide. Next one, please. So, Puerto Vallarta is located on the Pacific coast in Mexico. For those of you that aren't familiar with it, it is defined by a tropical climate, lush green mountains, waterfalls, hiking trails, and pristine ocean coastline. Puerto Vallarta has become a premier destination for foreign investors, with over 65% of our real estate transactions stemming from buyers that come from the United States and Canada. And our appreciation rates have certainly been climbing year over year, particularly in the last 10 years. And the surge really has been driven by the demand for luxury properties in areas like Punta Mita, which is up on the north part of the bay, Zona Romantica, which is the urban downtown district, and Conchas Chinas, which is known as Beverly Hills of Puerto Vallarta. It's on the south shore, just south of the romantic zone. Beyond its natural beauty, Puerto Vallarta also offers a rich cultural scene, world-class dining experiences, and a vibrant LGBTQ community, particularly in the Zona Romantica, making it a desirable location for both people seeking luxury lifestyle and investment opportunities. And in fact, Puerto Vallarta was ranked 4th best city in the world by Condé Nast Travelers Readers' Choice Awards in 2025.
Yep, absolutely. So, I, having lived in Puerto Vallarta and now work with Hannah selling real estate, can talk about the unique pulse of the city. How many have been there? Okay, great.
Wow.
That's good to know. Well, if you've been there, then you probably understand exactly what I'm saying. And I always tell clients, like, houses, you don't find the house you want, the house finds you. And that is so true in Puerto Vallarta. I can tell you that the pulse is impossible to replicate anywhere else in the world. Fine dining, hidden art galleries, open-air markets, world-class resorts, all of this exists side by side and within a 30 to 45-minute drive. When we talk about the diversity of the neighborhoods, and I think we were supposed to go to another slide here at some point.
No, we're still here.
Right.
Yeah.
Andy, what's really special about Puerto Vallarta is the diversity of the experience in one city. When Hannah talks about Conchas Chinas, or we talk about the vibrant energy of the romantic zone, or the resort caliber exclusivity of Punta Mita, all of this is accessible, like I said, within a very short drive.
Thank you.
Right.
So a lot of people wonder what the lifestyle looks like for international buyers. And Puerto Vallarta is more than just a getaway. It is a destination where you can live with ease and sophistication, with service, amenities, and a community that feel completely seamless for expats and second home owners. We're going to give you a breakdown of like the different zones that we mentioned: Punta Mita, Conchas Chinas, and Zona Romantica. So Punta Mita, this is where people ultra rich like the Kardashians go to vacation, is definitely the playground for the ultra high net worth individuals. It is the epitome of ultra luxury living in Puerto Vallarta. It's where the wealthy come to relax and flaunt their success. So think White Lotus. Literally, think White Lotus, but with less murder mysteries and better weather. That's Punta Mita. Residents enjoy private beaches, world-class golf courses, exclusive access to resorts like the Four Seasons, St. Regis. Here, it's not just a home, it's a lifestyle statement.
Exactly. So if you're looking at the screen here, the picture on the left there, that is Punta Mita. And the picture in the middle, that would be considered Zona Romantica. And then the picture on the right, that is what we call Conchas Chinas or Beverly Hills or Puerto Vallarta. So when we talk about Zona Romantica, Hannah spoke about Punta Mita. We talk about Zona Romantica. It offers a blend of urban sophistication and coastal charm. Think cobblestone streets, everything you see whenever you're watching HGTV and Mexico Life. That's exactly where they are. It's the perfect spot for those who want luxury without isolation. The lifestyle here is residents that have access to boutique shopping, gourmet dining, vibrant nightlife, all within walking distance. It's luxury living with the energy of the city. Then we talk about Conchas Chinas. Like Hannah says, we call this the Beverly Hills of Puerto Vallarta. It's hillsides neighborhoods known for its serene exclusivity. It has breathtaking views. The mountains are just beautiful overlooking the bay. It's also where privacy meets luxury. Residents enjoy panoramic ocean views, lush tropical surroundings, and a tranquil atmosphere, all just minutes away from downtown Puerto Vallarta.
So we definitely have seen a growing international demand in particularly the last few years, and even more in the last 5 years since the pandemic. And interest from buyers in the United States and Canada continues to increase, and it's growing steadily. Ultra luxury buyers are seeking turnkey, high-end properties in exclusive areas like Punta Mita, Conchas Chinas, and Zona Romantica. This strong demand helps maintain high prices and long-term value.
That's right. When we talk about inventory and sales trends, and I believe both of these other speakers spoke the same, the luxury inventory is very limited to the most desirable neighborhoods. Villas in Punta Mita and in Conchas Chinas, they sell very quickly. Many times they sell before they ever even hit MLS. While luxuries and condos in Zona Romantica, you're not going to find houses in that area. It's just going to be condos. Oh, shoot, I lost my... anyway, they see fast action from buyers seeking an urban and modern condo-type living. When we talk about price points and the buyer demographics of each of these areas, in Punta Mita, you can get a villa starting at around $5 million. You will get a condo starting at around $2 million. So, again, very, very high-end net worth type. The strong rental demand during peak season can deliver very, very, very attractive returns. The buyer demographic, like Hannah said, it's ultra net worth international investors, many families, millennials with children, and all of them seeking resort style type living. When we talk about Conchas Chinas, you can get a villa there starting at around $1.5 million. And these will be homes that are in the hills. There are some homes directly on the water there as well, but they're going to be, quite a bit more. They also generate very high seasonal rental income. So if you're looking for it as an investment, which many of them are, it will definitely pay there. The demographic for Conchas Chinas is very affluent families or retired professionals looking for quiet privacy, ocean hillside views, and a close proximity to downtown. When we talk about Zona Romantica, these luxury properties, condos, start at around $1 million. Condos here are highly desirable for short-term rentals, offering a very solid ROI, the potential of upwards of 15%. The buyer demographic here is a much younger professional or retirees that want to live in this vibrant urban type living. They want the walkability, abundant restaurants, art galleries, and cultural attractions.
So you might ask, why is all of this information important to investors, right? And investors are drawn to Puerto Vallarta for the security, prestige, and revenue potential. Limited inventory and ultra luxury segments keeps high quality estates scarce. Rental demand is strong and appreciation continues steadily, making it a resilient, desirable market for both personal use and investment. Really, particularly like in the Zona Romantica, it really has a really high investment potential. And investors can generally expect solid annual returns across the luxury market, ranging from 8 to 15% annually, depending on the property type and location, with short-term rentals in urban areas like Zona Romantica often performing the strongest. Punta Mita and Conchas Chinas offer high-end seasonal rental opportunities plus long-term appreciation due to the scarcity and exclusivity in those zones. They really do appreciate really well the villas and Conchas Chinas in Punta Mita. Can we skip to the next slide, please? Okay, so this really offers us a whole gamut of properties that are available for different types of investors and clients that are looking for luxury properties in Puerto Vallarta. So you can come in at the lower end of a luxury property. For example, the top pictures here are of Veloa, and this is a pre-construction. We do a lot of pre-construction, particularly in the urban areas like Zona Romantica. This is a 70-unit complex that we are working on that's going up just 2 blocks from the beach in Zona Romantica. And here you can get a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom, about 2,000 square foot penthouse condo for around $1 million, right? So this would be like at the bottom end of the luxury market, that goes all the way up into multi-million dollars, right? Veloa is, I'm sorry, I lost it. The rooftop here is its signature. It's designed to have the best rooftop in all of Zona Romantica, which is, that's quite a statement because there are several luxury condominium complexes in Zona Romantica, and they are aiming for this to really set it apart. It is going to be featuring heated infinity pools, multiple jacuzzis, shaded cabanas, expansive sun decks, and curated dining and event spaces with sweeping ocean and city views. And inside you can expect luxury finishes, designer kitchens, premium bathrooms, and a state-of-the-art fitness center, all aimed at delivering turnkey hotel caliber lifestyle to investors. And obviously the investment upside of this type of property, like a pre-construction development in Zona Romantica, the pricing gives buyers the chance to enter the market at a lower cost with the potential for substantial appreciation by the time the property is completed. A Veloa penthouse in a prime downtown location offers buyers both a design-forward home and an opportunity to secure an asset that can grow significantly in value between purchase and delivery.
So Hannah talked to you about the luxury market in Zona Romantica. So let's talk a little bit about Punta Mita and the luxury market there. Like we said earlier, it's the other end of the spectrum from what Hannah was discussing. The villa's starting at around $5 million and climbing into the multi-million dollars. The market is defined by private beaches, championship golf courses, secluded estates, and a full-service resort-type living. Inventory is extremely scarce, which preserves prestige and supports the value for buyers who want scale, privacy, and they have their legacy properties. It's really what they want. On the spectrum of high-end options, together with Veloa, with Punta Mita, with the properties down in Conchichinas, it illustrates the range of what luxury really means in Puerto Vallarta. From design-led urban pre-construction products with easier entry or rental upside to sprawling, ultra-private estates with unmatched prestige and scarcity. The spectrum lets agents like yourself pick and precisely choose the right property for your clients, whether they want high-end design penthouse, the walkability of a neighborhood, or a beachfront estate.
So as you guys can see, our quaint city offers something for every single investor. We have the gamut of different types of properties, different investment opportunities, and really something for everyone to choose. And we are happy to help walk anyone through the process, to discuss what it looks like, working with your clients. I do want to say that our office is actually, Coldwell Banker the Costa, we are the very first Coldwell Banker franchise ever in Mexico. Our office opened in 1985 by our broker, Brock Squire. So we have plenty of experience working in international transactions and in the Bay Area of Puerto Vallarta.
And I just want to plug, you can check Hannah and I out at Selling Puerto Vallarta on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook. And please sign up for our newsletter. We'd be glad to share what's going on in the Bay with you.
I'm sure a lot of you might already receive it because we have a huge CRM with Coldwell Banker agents that's already on our...
Now that you say that, I think I have.
Yeah.
Well, good. Send us some clients.
Or I think I'll just come down and work with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you again for having us.
Yes, you're so welcome. Thank you both. What an amazing area. And we really need Shaun to help us here. Please, Shaun. So 2 decades of experience in lending. You have some amazing tools that you're going to share with us. So we're all wondering, do we need to have cash? Can we buy with a loan? Is fractional lending an option where we can pool our money together and buy something? So many things. Tell us what's required from a lending standpoint.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. I'll just kind of start a little bit with thanking Alexander for the invite. I appreciate it. And just give a little bit of background on how I wanted to jump into this, why it makes me passionate about these financing options. That here in the States, I'm also a short-term rental investor myself, and we try to help people really find solutions for those here. A lot of high-net W-2 people taking advantage of the tax benefits of these. And it's always been something that many of our clients have wanted to do, including myself, Costa Rica, Mexico. And I have searched high and low for 5 and 6 years, just trying to find something that was at least plausible. From going down to talking to local banks, to setting up syndication deals with investors, setting up those type of transactions, and was really excited how timing worked out with Alexander on how to get connected and partner with MoXi down there, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with as well, which has been a treat. So to answer your question, yeah, there are some financing options now that I haven't seen before. Obviously, it seems like MoXi's been doing it for 6 to 10 years. But it's a huge opportunity for a lot of investors to take advantage of that down there. And just to give you a little bit an overview of what those look like, it's a very traditional mortgage product. There's nothing fancy or exotic about it. They're 30-year fixed, shorter terms if you need it, fixed interest rates based on qualifications of the same things we're looking for here in the States. So we call them the 3 C's: the credit, the collateral, the capacity. And as in here in the States, the terms of this financing obviously is going to be different depending on the credit risk that the client has. Prospects. So one of the things when it came to you're talking about the cash piece, obviously that's been the number one way to acquire property in Mexico, and still is. But another unique thing that we can work with MoXi is that we do have refinance options, so our delayed financing options. So if people are, allocating a strong amount of capital initially to purchase these assets, on the back end of these, we can refinance these clients and help them replenish some of that capital that they used, which was an option before as well. So we found that to be a strategic option where we can help people not have to leave all that money on the table. Pat's obviously going to probably talk about this more, but the last time we had one of these events, I had a good handful of agents come up and they're like, yeah, Yeah, but you don't really own the property, right? I don't know if you guys hear this all the time, right? And I nerded out on this like crazy, guys. If Alexander would get a chance to talk to you about it, like obviously taking care of clients, make sure it's a safe bet. It's a big deal, right? And if we're going to invest ourselves, you do own the property. That's one of the things that I think that MoXi does really well, that me and Pat were talking about, is the quick turn closing transactions for financing that we sometimes have got pushed into here in the States. They've just got shorter and shorter close dates to be competitive to get your offer accepted. That's not happening down there with financing unless we have a lot of things going your way. The seller needs to participate in the mortgage process a heck of a lot more than they need to be a part of the process here. So typically what we're seeing is about 90-day close for the time, so be patient when it comes to purchasing these properties. Big question also comes up is the down payment piece. Typically the most attractive down payment option that we're going to be looking at is a 35% down payment option. That could increase based on the credit profile of the clients. Also the closing costs piece. It's not something we want to shy away from up front because people can go, holy cow. Because the closing costs compared to what we're used to here in a typical transaction, which would be 2.5% to 3% unless the customer's investing up front and some buy down of interest points, this is much higher, about double that. Sometimes even higher than that. So make sure they're making our clients aware of what that looks like up front so there's no shock and awe of that type of scenario. But again, based on having zero options for what we've been able to offer to our database and our CRM and our current investors, it's been a pretty slick vehicle to have them offered. So that just kind of went through this a little bit again here. We are working with permanent residents, U.S. citizens. Minimum credit score is 700 is what we're working at. If we are working with a 700 score, that down payment's probably going to be a little bit higher than 35%. Minimum property value, so purchase price we're working with is $350 with the finance loan amount. Trying to keep the finance loan amount at $250 is kind of the idea. So the smaller loan amounts, it's not kind of where our wheelhouse is going to be. And again, like me and Pat were talking about, the smaller purchase prices do kind of get a little bit of a gouge compared to the larger purchase prices because a lot of these due diligence that need to be done on the back end cost the same whether it's a purchase price of $400,000 or $4 million. So that's another piece to keep in consideration. You can go to the next one. I don't know if simple, like I said, very straightforward products. Fixed amortization, 30 years. There is shorter terms. Fixed rates. We have no balloon payments, which that's what we dealt with initially with dealing with financing down there and Costa Rica and Jamaica, is that we had some crazy balloon scenarios on them. There is no prepayment penalties on these products, which there's more prepayment penalties here we have on certain products that are outside what we call non-qualified mortgages. No risk to U.S. dollar services. There is a 1098 that is issued for these properties because it is U.S. currency that's being securitized here in the States, and the servicing is here in the United States. I don't know for sure. You have to talk to your specific tax advisor on if everybody can use that 1098. 1098 is a tax deduction, but it is offered. It is going to apply. It is going to be provided to you at the end of the year. So at the end of the day, really, it's been really, really cool to have something to offer to investors. Especially being that the lot of clients that we work with that are not self-employed, from a luxury asset standpoint and a tax strategy standpoint, really for our high W-2 people, it's really the only option we have. And they're looking to do something outside of the States and a competitive player that's super desirable. So hopefully if you have clients that are interested in learning more about it, hopefully bring some enlightenment of whether it's a good fit for them or not.
And this program could be used globally?
Not globally.
Okay.
It's international.
There is a new product out.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's going to be globally. I would.
It's a stretch. Okay.
It's up to 200,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. It's a lot.
Wow. Impressive.
Yep.
Thank you. Great overview. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah.
So it's possible. It's
possible.
And buying close to the coast is possible.
Yes.
Okay. So we also need, in addition to a loan officer, unless we're paying cash, we need an attorney. It is required for this process to buy, for the most part. So we're going to call Patrick from Fredrikson and Byron, who's got over 36 years in corporate law, and you've been advising clients and developers and different companies in real estate for many, many years. Really, truly an expert in this area. Tell us a little bit about what the requirements are, if you would.
Yeah, a little bit. First of all, thank you for inviting me. I enjoy doing these. I've spoken to the Minnesota Realtors Association on occasion as well. Having said all that, I always tell people I am not a real estate lawyer. I do international corporate, and I represent developers and buyers. I started our Latin America practice at the firm in 1998. I'm now the only gringo in the practice. And Aramis Mendez, who's part of our real estate group, is here as well and assists on these as well. We've got 3 lawyers who are licensed in Mexico, one who is licensed in Venezuela, and she has a master's degree here and helps us with these deals as well. I've been going to Mexico since 1979. So I've seen a lot of changes in Mexico. I've been to all of the places we're talking about, and I've sold or helped buy properties with my clients, both for commercial development for tourist development, and for personal homes and residences. And so I've kind of seen pretty much everything down there. One of the struggles with opening up those markets has always been a little bit of the financing piece to kind of democratize it a little bit more, because in the past most of the buyers have been high-end buyers and they're cash buyers. I've done projects in Mexico, Brazil, Chile, Belize, Costa Rica, Panama. I had the honor of representing Mel Gibson. And stayed in his house in Costa Rica, and so I've had a lot of very interesting experiences that I probably wouldn't otherwise have as just a plain vanilla corporate lawyer. Let's go to the next slide. This is a little bit about what we're going to talk about. I'm going to try and go through these quickly so you're not leaving. But why buy real estate in Mexico? How to locate it? We've talked about that. Due diligence is a huge part of this, and realtors are a huge part of helping with that due diligence piece. Foreign investment laws and restrictions on how you buy, where you buy. Fideicomisos, buying individually, using entities to buy these so you have more options when you sell. Purchase agreements, notaries. Notaries in Mexico are much different than notaries here in the United States. Closing costs, registration of the property in the public registry, and what happens if you don't do that. And then safety. I'll talk a little bit about safety, but you guys have talked about safety in your markets, and I've been going there since 1998, and have never had any issues, and my clients haven't had any issues. So. Why buy real estate in Mexico? This is a picture of my cabin. Next picture. This is actually Manzanillo. Next slide. So how to find real estate in Mexico, we've talked a little bit about that, and you guys have already addressed that, so we'll move to the next one. So the question, can you buy real estate in Mexico? Yes, you can. If it's within the interior of Mexico, it's not in the restricted zone, you can buy it in your own name, fee title. If it's within the restricted zone, you have to buy it, if you're a foreigner, through a Mexican bank trust or fideicomiso. Article 27 of the Constitution outlines that. Next slide. And well, just let me go back to that for a second. The restricted zone is a strip of 100 kilometers from the border, or 50 kilometers from the beach, basically, from the shoreline. So if you're buying on the beach, you're buying property in Mexico as a foreigner, you're buying it through a fideicomiso, unless you're buying it to develop it, and there's some exceptions for developers. Due diligence. I always tell clients, you're not in Kansas. Don't do things in Mexico that you wouldn't do here. There's a lot of exuberance when you go down and you see a property on the beach and you want to jump in and, just get it while you can, get it quickly. But you need to do due diligence. You need to do some background searching on, the area, the title, making sure that the person who you're buying from actually has title, and maybe making sure that the person who he bought it from or she bought it from had title. Making sure that those transactions were registered, because if they weren't registered, you may have other people making claims that could step in and try to cloud your title or make claims against the property, and you'd have to deal with that. There are a number of different sections of the registry in Mexico. There are possessory rights, there are fee title rights, and there are ejido agronomy rights. And an ejido in Mexico is, I always struggle a little bit to describe how what an ejido is, but they're basically historically agricultural groups. I think the closest analogy I could say is it's kind of like an Indian tribe, but not really. There's a lot of beautiful beach ejido land, and if you buy ejido land, you have to get signatures from every member of the ejido, or you run the risk of not having proper title. I've had clients who've come to me and said, I've got this strip on the beach, it's an ejido property, and I say, you have to really step back a little bit and make sure you can do this correctly. And I've had clients in Puerto Vallarta, in the Puerto Vallarta area, a guy from Minnesota who, I have to say, he had a lot of guts. Went in, went through the whole process. We transferred the property from the agronomy registry into the public registry, and the value of that property has gone up 300% probably. Contract rights versus title. A lot of deals, may only sell you a contract right. It's something similar to a timeshare, where you don't get a deed, but you just get a contract right to use the property. So you want to be very aware of that. There are areas in Puerto Vallarta where you get land leases because you can't get fee title. So you have to be kind of aware of those things. Due diligence is key. You want to pull, a certificate of no liens, just similar to what you would want to do here. Certificates of no taxes due. You want to make sure the zoning is appropriate. And then the beach area in Mexico is public property. It's owned by the government. It's owned by the public. And in order to keep other people off of that area, you have to get a concession, and you have to apply for that. If you don't get it, you may find that you have a palapa on the beach in front of your house. And so it's important to look into that. Next slide. Ownership. So again, we've talked about this. Non-residential, if it is in the restricted zone, you may be able to do that through a Mexican entity if you're developing it or for commercial purposes. Mexican entities all require 2 shareholders, 2 members, 2 owners. The 2 most common Mexican entities are a Sociedad Anónima, which is equivalent to a corporation in the United States, and a Sociedad de Responsabilidad Limitada, which is like a limited liability company, roughly, still pays taxes at an entity level, but you can do if you get this deep into it, you can do a check-the-box election to have it treated as a pass-through entity for U.S. tax purposes. For residential, for foreigners in the restricted zone, you have to do it through a fideicomiso. I occasionally run into sellers or even attorneys in Mexico say it's not required. It is required. You have to be very clear about that. So these bank trusts have terms of 50 years. Some of the earlier ones had 30-year terms. You can assign the remainder of a fideicomiso to a new buyer. If there's a lot of years left on it, that's not a bad option. It would be cheaper in some instances, but I usually recommend if you're going to buy the property, go ahead and do a new trust and get your 50-year term. As I said, you can renew them. What the trust is basically similar to a U.S. trust. You have a trustee, which is the bank. The bank will enter into an agreement with you, and the bank will be the trustee. You, as the buyer, will be the beneficiary. If you have a lender, the lender will be the primary beneficiary, and you will be a secondary beneficiary. And once the loan is paid off, you become the primary. You can have all of your family members be beneficiaries. If you do that and the primary beneficiary passes away, then those secondary beneficiaries can more easily step in and take over the property in the trust. If you don't do that, you may have to go through a probate process in Mexico and prove that the person has been deceased, prove that you have a right as a beneficiary to take that interest, and it can take a process in Mexico to get that done. So, highly recommend thinking about who you want to have as beneficiaries. You have all the rights you have with ownership. The only difference is you're going to pay an annual fee, and there are certain restrictions that are going to be laid out in the agreement, but very few. So it's a pretty seamless way to do things. It's really kind of a legal fiction. Shouldn't be anything to be afraid of. We've been doing it for many, many years, and I've never had an issue with it. Not when they're done right. Next slide. So some options. You can purchase your property through a U.S. LLC, make that the beneficiary. A benefit of that is that you have more options in the U.S. level if you're changing ownership at the LLC level. And you still may have to notify the bank trust if there's changes in membership in the U.S., but it gives you some additional options in terms of how you could transfer the property. So the second option is individual. If you want to own that individually and be the individual beneficiary, you can do that. Next slide. Another way to do it, especially if you're thinking about renting it for income and you don't have, the developer being the rental agent or, some other third party that's taking care of the rentals, you can set up a Mexican entity, get a Mexican tax ID, run the income through the Mexican entity and pay the taxes in Mexico, get a credit on your U.S. return for taxes that are paid in Mexico. Next slide. The purchase agreement. So it's kind of a two-step process in Mexico, and there are times when I have recommended to clients to collapse that into one process. That's usually where the client has all of the terms laid out and they know what they're going to do and there's no dispute about it with the seller. Excuse me. Because you can move right to the public deed, the escritura, and have the notary outline this in that public deed. Probably the more common way, and I'm guessing that all of you deal with a promissory purchase agreement, whether it's a realtor form or it's a private form. And that agreement is going to outline all of the things that you would see with your agreements here in the United States. The difference would be if there's a fideicomiso, it's going to outline the fact that you're going to have a fideicomiso and it's going to have those terms in a separate agreement in the fideicomiso agreement. One of the very, very important things that you want to make sure you do is have it registered. Because again, if you don't have it registered, third parties can make claims against it. Having it registered is evidence of the fact that you have that title. It also can affect taxes, because if your seller hasn't registered their deed, then you're going to have them register it typically for you to get title from that person. And a lot of times the sellers didn't register it because they didn't want to pay the registry fees and they didn't want to pay the taxes, and they were thinking, I'm going to pass this on to the next party. And you don't want to be the party at the end who has to pay all that cost in between. So you're going to execute the deed, which is either going to be the promissory purchase agreement embodied into a public deed, or it's going to be a fideicomiso agreement embodied into the public deed. And you're going to do that in front of the notary in Mexico. And the notary in Mexico is responsible for reviewing the title and making sure that the title is correct. I am a pessimist, so I don't always rely on the notary. I usually tell clients, if we're representing you, we're going to ask for the 2 previous purchasers' public deeds. We're going to review them. We're going to make sure that everything is correct, and the notary is, a bonus. And then title insurance is a double bonus. But if you don't appear personally in Mexico, you would have to execute and grant somebody a power of attorney. That power of attorney is a document that is going to give them the right to sign your documents on your behalf. People are sometimes afraid of powers of attorney because they give people a lot of authority, and sometimes it's very broad authority. And even if you want to restrict it, a lot of times the notaries will require those powers of attorney to be pretty general. So you want to make sure that you're giving that power of attorney to somebody in the notary's office, or to somebody you have trust in. And there are many occasions where one of our lawyers will get a power of attorney, go to the notary's office and sign these documents. Many occasions where somebody in the notary's office will get that power of attorney and they'll sign the documents. You're going to go to the notary, you're going to pay the purchase price, you're going to have the notary read the public deed. Some of them are more diligent about that than others, but they're going to typically read the whole thing, which is not the most interesting and scintillating thing that you can do during a day, but it's a requirement to formalize the documents. You're going to pay the purchase price. The notary is responsible for collecting the purchase price, paying any fees, and paying any taxes. And so they will take care of that typically. And then the notary is going to register that public deed with the public registry in the location where the property is located. And that registration process, I don't know what you're seeing in Puerto Vallarta right now, but we're seeing anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks, or I think the last one I actually had was 3 months before I saw anything. And they're taking longer in different places depending upon how much volume there is and kind of who's doing the registrations. I don't know what you're saying.
Like 4 months.
Yeah. But you do want to make sure you get a copy of that with the notary stamp on it, and that it's, if you want to get what is in effect a certified copy, and keep that just so you make sure you've got that for your records. Next slide. Who is a notary? A notary is kind of a quasi-governmental official. They're lawyers, and they get special commissions to be notaries. Historically, notaries have been handed down from mother to daughter, father to son, father to daughter, whatever. They've been inherited through the family. They are a printing press for money because you're getting a fee for basically incorporating something into a record and filing it. It's a very important position in Mexico. Real estate documents, wills, credit agreements, powers of attorney, those kinds of important public documents, or just authentication of signatures should be notarized. Otherwise, people can make claims that it's not my signature, or they just don't get registered in the public registry. A lot of times the notary will be selected by the seller. or the developer. I typically push back on that. I hate to say that, but it's kind of like notaries will tell you, I have no conflict of interest. I don't have a horse in this race. I don't care, who does what. But if the notary is working for a developer and every deal they do, or 90% of the deals they do, are from that developer, they're going to naturally kind of look after the interests of the developer. So, if you have a lawyer, the lawyer's going to look at your interests. If you, have any questions about the notary, get your own notary, and we can help you with that. We have a history of working with notaries in virtually every corner of Mexico. The charges are based on the transaction value up to a cap. We've talked a little bit about closing costs. Closing costs are typically, I rarely see 4%. Most of the ones I see are 7, in the 7 to 10% range. So it's something that you have to take into account and advise your clients about. And then the registry. So there's a fee for the notary for the notarization. There may be some additional fees for them if they're doing some additional legal work in addition to the notary task. And then you're going to have you're going to pay your taxes. You're going to pay any fees that are required for the fideicomiso. There may be past real estate taxes that need to be paid. If there's an association, there may be association fees that need to be paid. And then next slide. Power of attorney, we've talked about that. Thank you. Purchase price, certificate of no liens, certificate of no taxes. This is an earlier version of my presentation. The transfer tax now 3%. It went up at the beginning of 2025. Notary fees, again, 1 to 2% of the purchase price typically. Public registry fees, typically about 1%. And then, the fideicomiso fees that you're going to pay to the bank. Association fees, all of those types of fees. Title insurance. Stewart, I think, was the first title insurance company to have title insurance in Mexico. I've worked with them, done seminars with them. You will hear people say don't get title insurance because the notary's job is to make sure that everything is taken care of. I will tell my clients that, but I say, if you want some additional security, get a title insurance policy. I haven't looked at one recently because most of my clients aren't getting them. But in the past, they have not been as comprehensive as a title insurance policy would be here, and there's more exceptions. I don't know if you have any different experience on those, but next slide. Registration of the deed. One of the things we didn't talk about was getting the SRE permit. As if you're buying property in Mexico, you need to get a foreign investment permit. They're going to include a Calvo clause, which is a clause that says, as a foreigner buying real estate in Mexico, you are going to waive your right to protection of U.S. law, and you are going to accept Mexican law. There's no options. If you're going to do it, you have to do it. And then we've talked about registration of the escritura. Next slide. And that is our group. Any questions or? That's my presentation.
Yeah, very thorough.
I don't know how long that took, but it was.
Just a little over on the time, but that's okay. No, it was very good. Thank you for your insight. This was amazing. We've got desert, we've got city life, we've got tropical life, we've got the resources that we need to make all of this happen. We do have a really nice handout in the back with everyone's contact information and then some top 5 tips for buying in Mexico. We also have some nice current listings on the walls throughout the office here for each of the different locations. If you want to see what's currently on the market, take a peek. I just want to thank everyone with a big round of applause. And I think we're over on time. time, but are there any burning questions that you'd like to ask before we depart here? Okay, well, we will all be here. Please ask questions as you would like, and I'm sure there's more food and beverages, so help yourselves. And thank you so much for coming today. Thank you. It was great. Thank you.
Are there more?